We have discussed about different configurations. So now we'll know about how actually these configurations uh, need to be connected. I think even that also we have covered. So let us discuss about the different regions of operation, because this is mainly dependent upon the operating point, that is Q point. Based upon the position of this Q point, we can decide whether it is going to act as an amplifier or a switch. So based on this, we are having three types of regions of operation. One is the cutoff region, other one is the active region, and the other one is saturation region. So in these three regions of operation, we need to know how we need to connect. Suppose I want my circuit to be working as an off switch, then how I need to connect my input circuit and output circuit. So if I take NPN, so I have taken NPN transistor. Okay, can anyone tell me in which mode I have kept this transistor right now? This is the input part, and
So
this is
common base, sir.
Common base, sir.
So common base configuration.
yes. See, now I have kept this in common base configuration, and this is the input part, and this is the output part. Now, if I want this transistor to act as an off switch, that means I need to turn off the supply to a device. I'm going to use the transistor as a switch to turn off the power supply to some particular device. Let us take, I'm going to blow a bulb and I'm using transistor as a switch. So I need to turn off the bulb. Then this connection, the input part should be reverse biased and this output part should be reverse biased. So what is this reverse biased? See, when I consider only this part, what does this gives rise to? Only these two layers, NP, that is diode,
Diode.
right? So, and if I consider these two parts, PN, this is also
Diode, sir.
diode.
Diode.
So, I can, from this analysis, we can understand one thing, the N layer, P layer. Can I replace these two parts by a diode? What is this layer? This is our cathode, this is our anode.
No.
So this is our N layer, this is our P layer. So these two layers, P, N, can I have one more diode like this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is my P and this is my N, that is this is anode, this is cathode. Now I will take up one connection from here. So now is this entire part is acting like an NPN transistor? N layer,
Yes, sir.
Yes,
P
sir.
layer, P layer, N layer. So two
Yes, sir.
diodes which are connected like this are going to act as an NPN transistor. Similarly, we can have PNP transistor. So PNP transistor we can have like this P, P, this is N. If you connect like this is the PNP transistor. So this is how an transistor can be replaced by two diodes. You can try this in multi-sim, or if you get a chance to work offline, so you can try this. So two diodes can replace a single transistor. Now here I am telling it should be reverse bias. Circuit should be reverse bias means this part should be connected in a reverse bias condition. You know that reverse bias condition means we'll give it to the opposite polarities. So N layer should be connected to the positive terminal of the battery and P layer should be connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So if this connection makes the input circuit reverse biased. The same way, the output circuit should also be reverse biased. So what I should do, I should connect this N layer to, I need to connect the N layer to the positive part and P layer to the negative part. So now, is this reverse bias now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It is reverse biased.
Okay. So now both of them are reverse biased. This kind of connection, whatever we are going to do, is going to see this is the power supply which I'm going to give your input supply, and here I'm going to connect the load resistance. Load resistance in the sense it is the any device which we are going to connect. So if you connect like this, then your transistor will be operating in cutoff region, that is in off state. If you want the transistor to work as an amplifier, then you should operate in active region. Later on I'll show the graph also. Active region, then the input circuit should be forward biased and the output circuit should be reverse biased. If you want your transistor to work in saturation region, that means you want it to work in on state, then both the input circuit and the output circuit both should be forward biased. Input and output both should be forward biased. So then the transistor is going to work in on state. That means it is going to allow the power supply, that is the current, to flow to the device. So this is how we can use the transistor to act as an on switch. But in active region, here we are going to use this region for amplification purpose. In amplifiers, these are two extremities. Before that, this cutoff and saturation, these are two extremities. That means here there will be how much, or what will be the current in this region? What will be the amount of current in this region?
0.
0. So here it will be
Maximum.
maximum. So
Maximum.
these are two extremities we are having. But amplifiers, we need in amplifier, we need some amount of current based upon the requirement of the device. So we need that flexibility of adjusting the current. Sometimes we might need more current, sometimes we might need less current. Sometimes we have to amplify the incoming current, incoming voltage also. So that's why we are going to use this active region. So let us see this regions of operation in VI characteristics. Current versus voltage. Now, by seeing this uh, graph, can anyone tell me in which mode or in which configuration I might have connected this?
Common base, sir.
Common base. Okay. Any other answers? In which mode I have connected?
Common emitter, sir.
Common emitter. How you are going to
Common
connect
emitter.
common emitter?
So the base current controls the collector current at a constant collector emitter voltage.
Good. So here I have connected. Here this graph is plotted for a common emitter configuration. This is because common emitter configuration will have like this. Input circuit will be having the base current, the input current, and at the output part will be having the collector current. So now, for a given fixed value of base current, you will be having this much amount of collector current. For given fixed value of IB naught, this is the collector current which is going to be obtained at the collector terminal. If you increase the base current to IB1, let us take this is 1 micro, 2 micro, 3 micro, 4 micro, like that. So if you are going to change the base current, the collector current is going to change because the current gain for a common emitter configuration is beta. So I have already told you the gain formula. Simply, how you'll get the gain formula?
Output current by input current.
Output current by input current. So here, which is the output current? IC. Input
IC.
current is IB. So this implies IC is equal to beta times IB. So this beta is the current gain. See, whenever you are going to purchase a transistor, the vendor is going to ask you, so what is the gain expectation you have? Suppose you are going to take SL100. SL100 indicates it is NPN. 100 indicates the gain, current gain. Okay, so this transistor SL100 is going to amplify the given input current 100 times and give it as the collector current. So IC is equal to beta times IB. So this beta factor is fixed for a given transistor. It cannot be changed. So it is a constant value. The only variable thing which we are having is IB. So if IB value is changed, it is increased or decreased, that will be having its effect over the collector current, increasing the collector current or decreasing the collector current. So here, when you keep on increasing the base current, the collector current is also going to increase. So this is the actually okay. Now can you tell me whether this is output characteristics or input characteristics? This graph. You have already done this in multi-sim experiment. This graph
Output,
is
sir.
output.
Output, sir.
Output, sir.
Output, sir.
So this is an output characteristics of BJT. So this we are going to plot a DC load line. The DC load line is the graphical analysis of a given device, graphical analysis of a given device which gives precise voltage and current. So here, how we are going to plot this DC load line? That is the question. So in order to plot this DC load line, here we need to So now, if we are taking the common emitter configuration, I'm just taking a simple circuit. So here, I'm connecting it to plus VCC. I'm grounding it, and here I'm going to give the input. So this is the collector resistance. So between these two, I'll be having VCE, and the current which is going to flow through RC is IC. Now, to plot this DC load line, what we are going to do is we are going to apply the KVL to this outermost loop. So can I make this plus VCC and this ground as one complete loop? If this terminal is plus VCC, see, this is equivalent
Yes, sir.
to this is plus and other one is the negative which is connected to the ground. The connecting like this is similar to what I connected plus VCC here directly. Both are same. Actually, this is how it will be connected. Okay. So now I'm going to apply the KVL to this particular loop. When I start applying the KVL, then sorry, I'm taking the anti-clockwise starting from this plus VCC. So equation will be plus VCC coming to this, entering point is positive, leaving point is negative, that is minus IC RC. After that, coming here positive, so entering point is positive, leaving point is negative. So we take it as VCE is equal to 0. Now, this is the basic equation we are having. In order to plot this DC load line, I have plotted this already, but I just wanted to tell you how we got these 2 points, because to plot this DC load line, we need to get this point as well as this point. See, when I need this particular point, just look into the y-axis. What will be the value of current at this particular voltage? What will be the value of current?
0, sir.
0. So here IC will tend to 0. Then VCE will be equal to VCC. Okay. So from this value, we come to know that this point is equal to VCC. Now, I want one more point along y-axis to plot the line. So coming to this, here, just the point is along y-axis. Just look into the x-axis of it. So what is the value of x-axis? At this particular point, what is the value of x-axis, x-coordinate or x-axis?
VC 0.
0, sir.
Right? So we'll make VC is equal to 0. Then what else is remaining? VCC minus IC RC is equal to 0. So IC is equal to VCC
VCC
by
by RC.
RC. So this point is obtained by VCC by RC, and this is equal to VCC. So when by plotting these 2 points, we will be getting a DC load line. Draw the DC load line. Now, here we have got these different graphs now. Do you think at a time all the graph will be coming? If you take a transistor, you will be getting all the graphs at a time?
No, sir. You could only have one line depending
One.
on the base current you're giving.
Yeah. So depending upon the base current, you'll be getting one graph, right? Let us assume that this IB1 is my fixed value. Then the operating point will be this one. The point where the DC load line and the base current curve, that is the collector current curve, both are going to intersect. That point is known as the Q point. So Q point or quiescent point or operating point. These are the different names which are given for the operating point. So now, if you just look into the X and Y values, see, X is going to indicate the collector emitter voltage, Y is going to indicate the collector current. So collector current, as I have told, always it will be in terms of milliamperes. Base current will be always in terms of microamperes. emitter current will also be in terms of milliamperes. Now, here also we have obtained one more voltage value VCEQ. Here also we have obtained one more current value ICQ. So VCEQ, ICQ. Now we have obtained two values of voltage in x-axis, two values of current in y-axis. Now the question is, what does this voltage and current indicate, and what does this voltage and current indicate? Anyone is having?
ICQ and VCQ will be the safe operating point of voltage and current.
Okay.
VCC and VCC by RC is the highest which we can apply. Beyond that, the transistor gets spoiled.
Okay. So here this operating point indicates you the current operating values of voltage and current. At present, at which value of voltage and current the transistor is working. This DC load values VCC and IC indicates the maximum voltage and maximum current the transistor can give out. So, but this VCC is possible only under this point is possible only under which condition? When do we get VCC? Output is equal to output voltage is equal to VCC.
So when IC is 0.
When IC is 0. So IC is 0 means what? Current is not flowing. Current is not flowing means what?
Cutoff region.
Cutoff region. So now this region, whatever we are having, this region is our cutoff region. Now coming to this point, we get this point when you are having maximum current flow. Say according to basic our Ohm's law, V is equal to I into R, the current can be maximum when resistance is
Minimum.
0 or minimum, right? Okay, so this is theoretically we tell like this, so such that the current will be infinity, that means it is maximum. So this is possible only under
Forward bias.
when the transistor is in saturation region. So when this region, whatever we are having, if the operating point lies anywhere here, then the transistor will be acting like on switch. In the rest of the region, in the central part of this curve, central part of this VI characteristics, anywhere if the Q point lies, then it is going to act as an amplifier, because you can see here, but whatever you can change, whatever you can shift the point anywhere, but the current is 0 only. Here, to whatever level you can change the current, but the voltage is 0 only. Okay, but here you can see in this particular region, the operating point is shifted anywhere. You will be having both voltage as well as current. I just want to ask you one question. When do you have voltage in a particular circuit, or potential difference in a circuit?
Sir, could you repeat the question?
When do you when are you going to tell that there is some potential difference in a particular circuit?
So when
When there
the
is charge
When the
inequality.
circuit is
Yes,
off.
Sorry,
When there is charge
circuit is
inequality.
when the charge?
When there is charge inequality, sir.
In charge inequality. Okay, when does this charge inequality takes place?
So circuit is open.
Circuit
When
is
the
open.
current doesn't flow in the circuit, sir.
So when the current doesn't flow in the circuit. But I'm telling
So
you,
when both the difference at both the points of the element
Yes.
is different.
yes. So the concentration difference should be there, right? That concentration difference can be only achieved when there is a resistor. See, you have a resistor here. You're having some current which is flowing here. Let us take the current is I1 here. Okay, the current is I here, and we are having some current which is flowing here. Do you think the current which is entering here and leaving here both are same?
No, sir.
There will
No,
be some
sir.
difference, right?
Yes,
That
sir.
the difference in the potential between these 2 points is our voltage, potential difference, voltage drop, right? So whenever you are having resistor, only during that time you can see the potential difference. See, that's why here I is equal to V by 0. We are telling the current is maximum. Current is maximum, but we are not telling. So what will be the voltage? Then R is equal to 0. What will be the voltage?
Infinity, sir. So
Infinity.
0.
0.
0.
Zero,
That
sir.
means, that means you should have a resistor to have a potential difference. So now, in order to have both voltage and current, we need to keep the operating point in this area, that is active region. So amplifier, you know that it depends upon from device to device, and sometimes we need to increase the given input signal because we are having microamperes of current that we need to increase to milliamperes of current, and we need some flexibility. See, all the devices require some amount of amplification. So based upon that, we can shift this operating point. See, if I shift this operating point to uh, here, what will increase? Current will increase. I can shift the operating point here. What will
Voltage will increase.
voltage will increase? So based upon the requirement, we can have this flexibility. That can be only achieved in active region, but whatever circus you can do in x-axis or y-axis, you cannot change anything. You will be having only the extremities. So operating point should be in active region to work as an amplifier. Is it clear? Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
So these are all the basic things which you should know before going on to the biasing techniques, because when you don't know why plus VCC is used, then there is no meaning in learning amplifiers and all. Okay. So coming to this is the Q point. As I told, Q point, operating point. It is also known as the quiescent point. It is also known as the DC point. Okay. So please remember one thing, plus VCC is used to fix the operating point. So who is responsible in fixing the operating point? Plus VCC. Only for fixing the operating point, to decide in which region it should operate, we are using plus VCC. So this plus VCC is not going to add up anything. It is just going to decide the operating level of the given transistor. So on understanding all these things, let us begin with the topic biasing. Biasing techniques. So in BJT biasing, we are having 4 types of biasing circuits. The first one is fixed bias. Second one is emitter stabilized bias. Third one is collector to base bias. And the fourth one is voltage divider bias. In this technique, each one of them are the upgraded version of the previous. The basic one was for fixed bias. To this fixed bias circuit, they made some changes. They added some resistor and it became emitter stabilized biasing circuit. To this emitter stabilized biasing circuit, they just changed the connections, slight change in the connection that became collector to base bias. So that emitter stabilized bias only, instead of having single base resistance, they splitted up that base resistance into two parts, R1, R2, then it became voltage divider biasing technique. So these are three types of techniques we are having. So according to your syllabus, we are going to have two things. These are the two uh, topics which we are having for your syllabus. But let us start with fixed bias because that is the basic thing. If you understand fixed bias, then you can easily understand these things. So in fixed bias, and remember one thing, in all these four biasing techniques, your transistor will be in CE configuration. And since we are more comfortable with NPN transistor, because for NPN transistor we'll be using plus VCC. Okay, so and we are more comfortable in using positive voltage rather than negative voltage because there are a lot of confusion. There might be some confusion in using the negative supplies. So we go for common emitter configuration and we can use NPN. So whether you are using NPN transistor or NP transistor, output will be the same, but the polarity difference will be there. That means instead of if you are using ENP transistor, then you need to use minus VCC. Instead of plus VCC supply, you need to use minus VCC. If you are using NPN, then you should use plus VCC. Why it is? Let us see. So coming to the first part, fixed bias. First write the transistor. So we have written the transistor in common emitter mode. We use a plus VCC supply. Plus VCC, it is a DC supply. We are adding one resistor, which is this terminal is the collector. So we are going to name this resistance as collector resistance. Between this plus VCC and this is the base and this is the emitter. Between the plus VCC and the base, we are going to connect one resistance. Since this is going to be connected to the base, we call it as base resistance RB. And in fixed biasing technique, we are not going to have emitter resistance. It will be directly grounded. And here we are not going to consider any supply, AC supply or anything, because we are purely doing DC analysis. We are purely doing DC analysis in this particular topics. So in DC analysis, we are not going to consider any AC component, that is AC supply. And also here nowhere you can see capacitor. Can anyone guess why we have not used any capacitor here?
So because it's DC supply, not AC.
Yeah, it's DC supply. If you use capacitor, what happens? It will block the current. It will not allow, right? So capacitor will not be used. But in some problems, to confuse you, they'll connect one capacitor like this. They'll connect one capacitor like this and they'll show like this. It is just for confusion. But since we are using DC analysis, we should ignore those capacitors because they act as open circuit. But even though when you are talking with entire amplifier, we are not going to talk about DC analysis or AC analysis. We are talking about amplifier. Then both AC as well as DC both will be used. AC will be the input which we want to amplify. DC will be the supply which is going to fix the Q point. So DC is responsible for fixing the Q point. AC is the input signal which we want to amplify. Now, can you tell me, after listening to this thing, can you tell me why we are going to use capacitors in amplifier circuit?
Increase output.
Okay. Any other answers?
Filter the output, sir. To filter the noise.
Okay. Then anybody? See, input we are taking from a supply. You know that the supply uses the ICs, all those things. So that ICs, you know that ICs are going to work on DC. But the supply what we are getting is AC. So here our intention is to amplify AC signal or DC signal.
AC, sir.
AC, right? So sometimes that DC signal might get mixed up with the AC signal and it might flow to the circuit. During that time, what happens is, because of the mixture of AC and DC, even this transistor is going to amplify that mixture. But we want to amplify only pure AC. So that's why we are using this capacitor, and this capacitor is known as coupling capacitor. So this coupling capacitor is used to filter out the unwanted DC component. See, now DC is the noise at the input level. DC itself is noise because any unwanted signal is considered as noise. Now again at the output also we are using coupling capacitor. Why we are using coupling capacitor is, say here transistor is going to amplify the AC signal fine, but to fix the operating point we are using plus VCC. So the DC current is also going to flow through this. So here there there will be chance of mixing of AC and DC signal and it will be giving out. But since we are giving a pure AC signal here by filtering it, here also we expect the same pure AC signal, but since we are using plus VCC, we might experience some DC component in the output. To filter out that unwanted DC signal, we are using this coupling capacitor at the output. So we are filtering DC here, we are filtering DC here. That's why we are using this. So in this fixed bias circuit, this for DC analysis, we are going to just we are going to use this. This is the circuit. So to this circuit, we are going to consider this part as input circuit and this part as our output circuit. Even we can use this part as the input circuit, or even we can use this loop as our input circuit. Okay. So we will be using this and this two loops for the analysis. So we will be having two cases. We will derive two equations and we will find out ICEQ, VCEQ. Later on, we are going to find out the DC load line voltage and the current. Okay. So how we are going to do that we can see in the next class.